There is a version of you that exists 5 years from now, and if he was standing in front of you right now, you would feel uncomfortable in your own skin. Not inspired, not motivated, uncomfortable, because he would look at you and immediately understand something you've been avoiding. He sees every promise you break by noon, every plan you announce and abandon, every moment you choose comfort and then call it balance. If you met the man you could become, the disciplined version, the one who never negotiates with weakness, you wouldn't feel inspired. You would feel exposed, because he would see you exactly as you are, inconsistent, predictable, usable. You think discipline is about productivity. You think it's about routines, habits, waking up early, or grinding harder. That is a lie told to keep you weak. Real discipline is not about doing more. It is something far colder. It is domination. It is the systematic destruction of the version of you that wants permission, comfort, reassurance, and applause. Machiavelli never wrote for people who wanted to feel good about themselves. He wrote for those who wanted to be unmovable in a chaotic world. He understood a simple rule that still governs human behavior today. The moment you stop negotiating with yourself, other people lose the ability to negotiate with you. And that is when something uncomfortable happens. People around you start to feel nervous, not because you are loud, not because you are aggressive, but because you are no longer usable. You tell yourself discipline is about motivation, but motivation is just another word for permission. Permission to act only when conditions feel right. Permission to stop when emotions shift. Permission to remain soft. And soft men are easy to steer, easy to distract, easy to replace. Here is the part no one teaches you. Once you see this, you cannot unsee it. Discipline is not a habit you add. It is an identity you enforce. This is not surface-level advice or a list of tips you try for a week and forget. This is a complete system that strips away the part of you that needs comfort and replaces it with something colder, quieter, and far more dangerous. When discipline becomes consistent, it stops looking admirable and starts looking threatening. People will tell you that you are extreme, obsessed, or unbalanced. What they are really saying is that you have stepped outside the range where they can influence you. A man who cannot be broken by his own mind cannot be broken by opinion, pressure, or circumstance. Right now, whether you admit it or not, you are being managed by your own impulses. You negotiate with fatigue. You ask permission from motivation. You wait until you feel ready. And every time you do, you confirm to the world and to yourself that pressure works on you. There is a law beneath this, and it never fails. A man who cannot command himself will always be commanded by something else. There is a moment you don't remember clearly, but your body does. The first time you realized you could have done more but didn't. The first time you felt yourself hesitate, delay, soften, and then explain it away later as timing, balance, or circumstance. That moment never left you. It became a pattern. Discipline was never about productivity. That is the lie weak systems sell to keep you compliant. Discipline is about control, and control is always political, even inside your own mind. Every undisciplined man is governed by impulses, by moods, by other people's expectations, by comfort dressed up as reason. And here is the part most men refuse to face. The world can tell. People don't need to hear your plans to know if you're inconsistent. They read it in your posture, in your response time, in how easily you justify delays, in how often you explain instead of execute. Inconsistency leaks information, and information is leverage. This is why discipline changes rooms before it changes results. When a man becomes disciplined, not motivated, not inspired, but mechanically consistent, something breaks in the social order around him, because discipline removes negotiation, and negotiation is how control enters. Most men live inside constant internal bargaining. I'll do it later. I deserve a break. I'll start when it feels right. I just need more clarity. That internal debate is not harmless. It trains you to be overridable. If you override yourself every day, others will do it for you without effort. This is why disciplined men destabilize environments. They stop responding to incentives meant to control behavior. They don't need praise to continue. They don't collapse without validation, and that makes people uneasy. A man who does not need to be managed becomes a problem for systems built on management. Machiavelli understood this long before modern psychology dressed it up with softer language. Power never begins with domination. It begins with predictability. If your reactions are predictable, you can be steered. If your effort fluctuates with emotion, you can be delayed. If your standards collapse under pressure, you can be negotiated downward. Discipline shuts all of that down. Not loudly, not aggressively, silently, and silence is always threatening. The disciplined man does not announce change. He does not seek permission. He does not recruit witnesses to his transformation, because witnesses interfere. When others see you trying, they feel entitled to comment. When they comment, you feel pressure. When you feel pressure, you adjust. That adjustment is how you lose sovereignty. Discipline is the refusal to adjust for comfort, approval, or relief. It is the decision that execution does not require agreement. This is why discipline feels violent at first. It kills the part of you that wants to be understood. That part is expensive. It costs energy. It costs time. It costs authority. Every time you explain yourself, you lower your position, not because explanation is wrong, but because it signals uncertainty, and uncertainty invites interference. A disciplined man does not signal uncertainty. He signals inevitability. He shows up when he said he would. He finishes what he starts. He does not perform effort. He produces outcomes, and outcomes close mouths. This is where fear enters, not fear of you as a threat, but fear of you as an uncontrollable variable. People are comfortable around men they can predict. They are relaxed around men they can influence. They are not comfortable around men who do not respond to incentives they rely on. Discipline removes you from the reward-punishment loop. Most people live inside, and when you leave that loop, you cannot be trained. That is why disciplined men are labeled cold, obsessive, extreme, or disconnected. Those labels are not observations. They are containment strategies. When people cannot influence you, they attempt to redefine you. You are watching this because you already feel the friction. You know the cost of inconsistency. You feel the quiet resentment toward yourself when you don't follow through. You feel the subtle loss of respect in conversations you can't quite explain. That isn't imagination, it's pattern recognition. Discipline restores something older than confidence, authority over self. And authority over self is the only authority that cannot be revoked. Once you cross that line, once your actions no longer depend on how you feel, how tired you are, or who is watching, the environment adjusts to you. Not immediately, not comfortably, but inevitably, because a man who cannot be delayed cannot be stopped. And this is only the surface of what discipline actually does. You already feel it tightening. The moment discipline stops being something you talk about and starts being something you obey, your identity begins to fracture. And that fracture is not gentle, it is violent, because the version of you that survived on excuses cannot coexist with the version of you that executes without negotiation. This is where most men turn back. Not because it is hard physically, but because it strips them socially. You don't just lose laziness here, you lose camouflage. Once you become disciplined, your inconsistencies disappear. And when inconsistencies disappear, people lose their grip on you, because leverage depends on fluctuation, and you no longer fluctuate. You become solid. And solidity is intimidating. Your reactions slow down, not because you are calm, but because you are no longer impulsive. And impulsive men are easy to steer, easy to bait, easy to provoke into mistakes that benefit others. You stop explaining delays. You stop justifying standards. You stop cushioning your decisions so others feel comfortable around them. This is where the pressure begins. Once discipline locks in, you stop bleeding information. You stop leaking intentions through words. You stop advertising progress through performance. You stop seeking witnesses to validate effort. Effort no longer needs witnesses. Only outcomes do. This is why disciplined men are rarely understood in real time. They are only recognized after distance has already been created. By then, the gap is unbridgeable. You are no longer reacting to life. You are imposing structure onto it. That shift terrifies people who survive by adaptation rather than execution, because adaptation requires others to stay weak enough to accommodate you. Execution does not. Execution forces alignment or separation, and separation is where your power consolidates. You begin to notice something else. Your emotions still exist, but they no longer vote. They speak. You hear them. You do not obey them. That single change places you outside the reach of most social control mechanisms. Fear loses leverage when it no longer changes your behavior. Approval loses leverage when it no longer accelerates you. Rejection loses leverage when it no longer slows you. This is why discipline is not admired openly. Openly, it exposes procrastination. It exposes dependency. It exposes comfort addiction. Your existence becomes an indictment without accusation. And people hate indictments they cannot argue against. They will call you extreme. They will call you obsessed. They will say you have changed. What they mean is you no longer orbit their expectations. You are no longer adjustable. And once you are no longer adjustable, you are no longer safe to manipulate. This is the moment where discipline stops being a habit and becomes a position, a fixed one. You don't drift back from here, because drifting would require negotiation, and you already killed that part of yourself. What comes next is where discipline stops shaping you and starts reshaping everything around you. This is where it finishes hardening, because by now, discipline is no longer something you practice, it is something you are. And once discipline becomes identity, the world does not interact with you the same way again. You start to notice the silence first, not your silence. Theirs. People hesitate before asking you for favors they have no intention of repaying. They hesitate before wasting your time with stories that go nowhere. They hesitate before crossing boundaries they used to step over casually. Nothing was announced. Nothing was explained. Your behavior rewrote the terms. This is the external consequence nobody warns you about. Disciplined men destabilize rooms, not by dominating them, by refusing to participate in weakness rituals. You don't bond over complaints. You don't perform struggle for sympathy. You don't trade vulnerability for belonging. And when you remove those currencies, many social structures collapse. You become difficult to read because you are no longer leaking emotion in exchange for safety. You become difficult to predict because your actions are not driven by mood. And unpredictability combined with consistency is what power looks like at a distance. People fear what they cannot time. They fear what does not rush. They fear what does not need them. This is why disciplined men are often accused of being cold when in reality they are simply unavailable for manipulation. Warmth that can be withdrawn on command is not warmth. It is bait. You stopped offering bait. Your schedule tightens. Your standards stop flexing. Your yes becomes rare. Your no becomes final. Not aggressive, not emotional, final. And finality is terrifying to people who survive by negotiation. You stop being the person who can be convinced. You stop being the person who can be delayed. You stop being the person who can be softened with praise or guilted with obligation. The hooks don't stick anymore. This is sovereignty in practice. Machiavelli understood this dynamic clearly when he warned that power belongs to those who rely on what they control, not what others provide. Discipline is internal control taken to its extreme conclusion. It makes you independent of mood, permission, momentum, and morale. Those are the levers used to move crowds. They no longer move you. And when they no longer move you, you become the reference point instead of the responder. You set pace without trying. You create pressure without raising your voice. You command space without demanding it. This is why disciplined men are often isolated at the top of their trajectory. Not because they rejected others, but because others cannot follow without changing themselves. And most people will not change just to keep access to you. They will label instead. They will rationalize. They will say you are intense, obsessed, extreme. Those labels are defensive. They protect them from confronting why your presence makes their comfort feel fragile. You are not extreme. You are exact. And exact men expose sloppiness by existing. At this stage, discipline stops feeling like effort. It feels like alignment. Your actions stop arguing with your goals. Your days stop contradicting your standards. Your future stops being theoretical because the work is already being done. This is where anxiety dies, not because life becomes easier, but because you are no longer lying to yourself. Anxiety feeds on unpreparedness. It feeds on inconsistency. It feeds on knowing you are capable of more and choosing less. Discipline starves it completely. You no longer fear outcomes because you trust your process. You no longer fear competition because you know how few people will endure what you endure daily. You no longer fear loss because nothing you have is built on weakness. This is the quiet threat disciplined men represent. They don't need chaos to rise. They don't need permission to move. They don't need consensus to act. They will still be there tomorrow, doing the same thing, regardless of praise, rejection, or distraction. That inevitability is what unnerves people. Because inevitability cannot be negotiated with, it cannot be delayed, it cannot be reasoned out of existence. And once you embody that, you stop asking where you belong. You stop asking who respects you. You stop asking if this is worth it. The structure answers everything. You chose the path where comfort dies early, so control can live permanently. And now, whether the world likes it or not, it has to adjust to you. You can feel the difference between who you were when this started and who you are now, because once discipline becomes identity, there is no going back to negotiation, no returning to comfort disguised as balance, no pretending you didn't see how control actually works. From this point forward, you will notice things most people miss. You will notice how quickly respect follows consistency. You will notice how manipulation fails when emotion no longer drives your actions. You will notice how silence, structure, and refusal to explain create more authority than words ever could. This is not motivation. This is calibration. If this hit uncomfortably, that's not a coincidence. That discomfort is recognition, and recognition is the moment identity locks in. If you want to anchor it, leave a simple marker below, not for approval, for alignment. I don't negotiate with weakness. That sentence filters who still has access to you. If you're done being pulled by moods, distracted by noise, and shaped by expectations that were never designed for your advantage, then you already understand why this channel exists. Subscribe. Not because you need more content, but because repetition builds structure, and structure builds control. Share this with the one person who still thinks discipline is about productivity, not power. Sometimes the right message at the right moment changes a trajectory permanently. And one more thing, what you see here is surface level by design. There are truths beneath this, patterns about control, leverage, and psychological warfare that do not survive algorithms, monetization systems, or polite platforms. Those are not taught publicly. They are decoded privately. That's what the membership is for. If you're ready to go beneath behavior and into command-level thinking, where identity is fixed and influence becomes inevitable, that's where the real work happens. Thank you for staying to the end. You didn't do that by accident. I'll see you in the next one.